Target Trading Academy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Preston Vogl here at Target Trading Academy with today's Micros Market Recap. Let's get into it. It is Tuesday, the 11th of April, closing in on that New York close. Oil and gold are already closed out here. Let's get right into it. So oil, we opened inside that range, pretty much at that close from yesterday, and we've done nothing but climb. You can see we did have some response at that HVA edge that was put down the night before. So all of our levels are always drawn the night before for our students to get onto their charts in preparation for the overnight session, through the early morning session, all the way through the pit session of the next day. With that said, we did finish net positive in oil. Finally, we're breaking out somewhere. If we might just have an up week again. Remember, we had that gap up move from last week, last Monday, if you recall. We opened a gap up well above that range from the Friday prior to last Friday, and we've have yet to test going lower. And granted, that's not necessary. We have come down to that edge a couple times, but they haven't made any move. And by they, I'm talking about the big boys. Haven't made any move to fill that void. So it doesn't look like they want to at this time. They may never. We just never know. But from what we can tell, now they finally have broken out of this very tight range that they had created, and we've got some positive movement in that market, meaning that we might see that continuation. Granted that it's all speculation. You should only trade what's in front of you per the method that you have. As far as what occurred in gold, we did open slightly above the range high, above that close. Never did get to the close, but we did have a direct move down. That presented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential entries for our students off that one edge alone. Granted, it was very consolidated. First time opportunities were the best setup that had occurred. If you are interested in learning more about these levels, stay tuned and I'll tell you how you can get that access or that information, how to find that. As far as their equities go, they are closing here in a few minutes. It looks like we're going to be closing net down. We did open ever so slightly gap up, had to move down. They tested those highs, moved down. A lot of pressure. You can see how choppy it was, just this consolidation here for that first hour of the market opening. No real range extension. Did get a dip, got to the close, and then we had this long grind that started a good hour or so before lunch even, and then it was all wiped out this last hour. That's ridiculous. That just tells you that all that pressure, all that buying, they left the market. They're gone. They're home. And this is the other guys that have been putting on that pressure the whole day for them. So it looks like we are going to be finishing net down in the ES and the NASDAQ. Similar story in the NAS, just that sideways action, but I'm going to scroll back here to the open so that you can see that. Right? Opening, just they had this range bound. You can see that first 30 minutes here, right? Granted, the NASDAQ did have a little bit more volatility at the open and did get more of a directional move, but then they went sideways, and that's when they got trapped. You can just see this here. So from 943 is really when their consolidation starts. It is more of on a tilt. But you can see here that first hour, they didn't really get any headway to get any directional move. Granted, it did give us some opportunities for entries, but it was choppy as can be. NASDAQ probably was one of the better markets to be trading, even though it still was choppy. And then you can see once again, after that hour from the 9:45 to the 10:45, it consolidated again in this area and just had troubles breaking out. And then shortly before lunch, started that climb. And then this last hour, all of that was wiped out and we just made new lows. So very choppy. Good participation in the NASDAQ out of all the markets. If the Dow was on here, you would see how much more congested it was, and it had that same directional move on the up end. Actually, I'm going to pull it in here for us here just so that we can take that look at the market. I'm going to blow that up here. Look at this. This is our open here, and then there's that 11 o'clock mark, so this is that hour before. So this is all congestion. The ES and the Dow had suffered the most in the terms of congestion. However, the ES had more participation on the day than the NASDAQ did, but not in terms of the micros. Micro NASDAQ always has more than the mini or the micro the micro ES. But price or action dictates that move. And if you, it's the same price action that we saw in the minis, and it was just as consolidated as this Dow here, and it had way more participation. So it's a fight. No one wants to take it anywhere. They don't want to go lower. They don't want to stir up, fear of banking crises, whatever you want to think about it. It's all manipulated, and that's just something they have to realize. And that's why we advocate only trading what's in front of you with the methodology and following the money management rules that you have. And that's what we do here in our rooms live every day. So we teach a method to our students. They progress through it. They advance through it. They use these levels and education that we provide for them, and they submit their trades from how we've taught them how to execute based off these levels that we give them the night before, and they get graded each time they send in their trades. Now, we want all trades, winners, losers, and break-evens, because they're not going to learn if you're just going to send in your winners. It's just the cold, hard truth. You have to send everything in, be 100% accountable, and be willing to learn from your mistakes, especially. So with that being said, if you are interested in learning more information about all of that, how you can get these levels onto your charts the night before, how you can get into our live rooms each day, feel free to reach out to us. We are Target Trading Academy. You can find us on Facebook or go to our website at targettrading.co. Again, that is targettrading.co. Get in touch with a consultant at either of those locations. They'll gladly show you what we do in our rooms each and every day, and you'll be able to see for yourself why we are the #1 trading education company in the world. We look forward to having you there.